Hey guys, we're out here today and we are asking people in the street about their faith, Christianity, and what their opinion and view is. Come along with us.
Well, that's a good question, but
Jesus is the son and God is his dad, and that's all I know.
Yeah, just this man with long hair on a cross. That's about all I know.
The typical long hair.
The typical, yeah.
What does it mean to be a Christian?
It's just having a set of beliefs, and I think it's like any religion, and even if you don't have a religion, I think everyone follows certain beliefs and attitudes and values.
that's the same thing as me saying I'm a Muslim. That's your belief. I follow Islam, you follow Christianity.
I feel like we've all been surrounded by it to an extent.
Living by the commandments, I think, is Christian.
It's like a relationship, like with God, and yeah, it's like a personal thing between you and God, not just like you must do this, I guess. Yeah.
I honestly don't really know much about it, so I don't really have an opinion on what it is. Like
People in my life who are very serious about Christianity, and then other parts where they're like,
Who do you think Jesus is?
Well, that's a great question.
I don't really believe in Jesus, but I know that there is something about the destiny and everything, but I don't know if it's Jesus.
In Islam, we call Jesus Isa alayhi salam. So that's who he is. That's our prophet.
I don't know whether I even believe in him or not, so I don't really have an opinion about who he is.
But I've always had this image in my mind of someone on a cross, just because that's who you see in my nana's house. I don't know, I've always thought of him as a figure, this male figure, which I don't know if that's true or not.
Jesus is the son of God, and he was on the earth, and then he died on the cross, and then rose again, so that we can have a relationship with God and go to heaven.
Yeah, just this man with long hair on a cross. That's about all I know.
The typical long hair.
The typical, yeah.
Is there a difference between Jesus and God?
Oh my God, I have no idea.
It's okay.
I have no clue.
So what I've learned is that God was Jesus' father.
I'd say that Jesus is the flesh form of God, and God's more of a spirit.
God is a higher power, and then Jesus is his son.
Yep.
And then you can rely on them kind of as equals. So if whether you speak to God or whether you speak to Jesus, it kind of goes from one through the next. It's kind of just one higher power.
Huge difference, because our God, his name is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the one and only. He's the only God. He's the one who's created everything. And you got all of his companions, you got all of his prophets.
I honestly don't know any difference. I actually asked someone in my family and they didn't know either, but I just think Jesus is... Actually, yeah, I don't know. Jesus is the son and God is his dad, and that's all I know.
I have heard that there's two different kind of stories and backgrounds to each, and I know people do have different beliefs in it, so I think that they can be different.
If what Christians believe was real, would you believe in it?
Well, that's a good question, but
It's hard to change how you feel about something, but if it was shown enough, and then I wouldn't put it past it. I'd never say no to something. You always got to keep a door open.
I was born Muslim, born and raised. So for me to know or see another pathway of another religion is kind of a disrespect to myself as well, and my own beliefs and my religion as well. So I feel even if Christianity was the real deal, I wouldn't go for it.
I think so, yeah.
It's not really about what's true or false. It's about what you believe.
Well, if I could pick on my own, I probably would. But I got born as Muslim, so I only heard about it, and I'm not thinking of changing religions.
Hey guys, it's me, Matt.
And I'm Michaela.
And we've just been on the streets today having some great conversations. They were pretty good, don't you think?
They were amazing. Shall we have a conversation about it?
Let's chat about it. It was really cool today. The first hesitation of, you're going to talk to strangers, which can always be a bit confronting, But what really stood out for me was the next group of guys that we interviewed there. They were firm believing Muslims in their faith. It was really interesting to find their perspective, because sometimes we can just be, in our Christian echo chamber that all we hear is our own thoughts and our own opinions and other Christians' thoughts and opinions, that we actually don't, lift our eyes up and see there are other people in this world,
We also had a young gentleman who was a Muslim as well. This interview definitely opened up so much, even for myself, and I think challenged me of, there's actually other things that a barrier between them believing in Jesus than I thought it was. He knew what Jesus was and he knew what God was. So it's just interesting to see that some people actually know who Jesus and God is, but it's that line in that between, but to me, it's not personal. Or to me, it's just someone that someone taught us or someone knew.
What I loved as well, like what you said there, was the openness. I think, I don't know, I can so easily be like, they don't want to hear about it. They don't want, to hear me say it. Or, someone doesn't want to hear my opinion on my belief, but just hearing their openness to it, which in a good way really took me by surprise, because, maybe I've projected onto other people that, no one wants to hear my opinion outside. But like you said, that openness and that willingness to hear it and then to have a conversation about it, of their beliefs, and a respectful one. I think, nowadays in our society, it can be like, I believe this, you believe that, and like shut it down, no conversation, not wanting to talk about it. But to actually have a dialogue back and forth and a respectful one, I thought it was just refreshing, and it really like opened my eyes to see that actually, there's more to it, that actually, yes, we may have different beliefs, not even only in our faith, but, in political ideas or anything like that. But at the end of the day, we're still humans.
Yes.
And, we can still communicate and talk with each other. And sometimes that tension is a good thing, And that was cool for me to see like, there naturally is a tension here, because we believe different beliefs strongly, firmly in our faith. But we can have this conversation, not hate each other.
Yeah.
We can leave this conversation, and then that's the thing. Once we had finished interviewing them, the cameras were done and all that, we actually had a conversation afterwards, of a chat with them.
And we had these two guys, guy and girl, and they were just talking about growing up in school and then learning about Jesus. But the conversation after was like, these days people are more open.
Yeah.
And to hear someone to say...
Surprising.
Right.
Yeah.
And to hear someone to say that, but also to even encourage... The question was like to encourage Christians. They're like, 100%, like share your faith.
Yeah.
And I found it so fascinating that so many people, and the answer to that question was, yes, of course you should share your faith, because that's what you believe.
Yes, yeah.
And it was like it was literally like it was a no-brainer. They said, yes, of course.
It's seeming like with most people that, they just don't know enough about that. They know of Christians and they have heard the name Jesus before, but they don't know actually what it entails. And it got to the point which is like the one question we asked was, if Christianity was, said to be true and what it said was true and all that, which we obviously believe it is true, would you believe in it? And she was like, well, I actually don't know enough about Christianity. What is it,
Yes.
And had that awesome opportunity there to then share, this is what Jesus,
wow,
this was that, what
awesome.
He believes in, and what we believe in, what He did for us. And, it was seeming like the common trend was that actually it's just a lack of information, which is encouraging that there's such an opportunity there, these conversations we had today that really believing that they lead to more conversations.
Yes.
Outside of that, people walk away thinking, there's more to this, and even for myself, I know I'm going to be lying in bed tonight thinking of all these conversations and like thinking of more. It also challenged me as a Christian as well to be like more bold in my faith and sharing, which is always so encouraging. I think it's good that we don't remain stale, that we get, shaken up a little bit every now and then, which is great.
I totally agree. I think it was awesome.
So good.